Students, today's class we will study our third chapter, A Slight Misunderstanding. Let's begin. I recently got one of those little black cars. The sort everybody else has. I do not know why it is, but whatever car I get, everybody else suddenly seems to have the same idea. So, yes, the first two lines are a clear indicator of the confusion and misunderstanding that will follow in the story fully. So, we got a clear idea about something like misunderstanding and confusion. So, he says that everybody seemed to own a little black car similar to his. Moving on. Anyway, I drove into my nearby shopping center the other Saturday to get some fish and groceries and dry cleaning and all that sort of thing. It is terrible, absolutely terrible. Shopping in that town. 10,000 cars and not a space to park except the entrance of the fire station. However, on this particular morning, I got through in record time and I put all the things in the boot and drove back home. Here, boot means space at the back of a car used for carrying bags. So let's know what's the problem with the parking in front of the entrance of the fire station. So what will happen if you park in front of the fire station? Imagine the chaos when there is a fire and the fire engines are blocked. That problem will be there if we are parking in front of a fire station, isn't it? So he says here he could not get any parking space except near the fire station. Then we seen that he had been able to finish his shopping quickly and was on his way home. So all these are the introduction for the main misunderstanding and humorous situation. Let's know what is that. Moving on, I was just about halfway there when a rather startling thing happened. Startling here means sudden and surprising thing happened. I found I was being licked on the back of the neck by a dog. Of course, if you are a dog owner, you will say what is startling about that, and I quite agree. But it just so happened that I had not taken my dog with me. So here we could see a strange dog in the back of the car licked the back of his neck, isn't it? So I stopped the car and had a look in the back, and there was this dog, a complete stranger to me, with his tongue hanging out, all ready for another go. So he is ready for another lick in the back of the other, isn't it? And I said, "Hello, whose doggy are you?" But he did not answer, and then I saw he had got his name on his collar, Arthur. Pretty silly name for a dog, I must say, and there was the address of a farm on the other side of the town. About 7 miles back in the wrong direction. So Arthur is not a pretty silly name for a dog. We are not giving Arthur for dogs, isn't it? So he funny way saying that silly name for a dog. So in the collar belt of the dog, it is written there Arthur. So he thought that the dog's name was Arthur itself, and there was a clear address also. And he tells that that farm was very much opposite direction of his travel. He says that it was 7 miles in the wrong direction, which implies that it was not on the way towards his house. Moving on. Well, of course, I say what had happened. It was entirely my fault for not locking the car up, but none of us does it here. It is bad enough having to stop at about 14 different shops without dropping the car keys each time. So, in the above paragraph, we can see the description of the dog and dog's behavior and the humor, isn't it? How we seen that it was ready to lick again him, isn't it? And we seen that it did not answer when he asked whose doggy it was. So he anyway thought that it was his fault because he had not locked the car, and he thinks that the owner may have got tired and had put in the wrong car, which was his car. Moving on, and what had happened was that Whoever owned the dog had got fed up with taking him around and had put him in the car to wait. Only, of course, they had put him in my car and not theirs, and I could not quite decide what to do about it. For one thing, I was supposed to be back with the fish at 1 o'clock, and if I took the dog home, he would not get on terribly well with my dog. On the other hand, if I took him back and handed him in the police station, there would be all those forms to fill in the affidavits, to swear and all that. Affidavits means when written statement made after officially promising to tell the truth. So we can see here a lot of thinking, isn't it? First thinking was this one: if he takes the dog home so as to be able to take the fish home by one, his own dog may be resentful of the strange dog. His own dog may create more problem with that dog, isn't it? That is the first problem. Second problem is this one: if he takes it to the police station as a lost and found a dog, he will have to go through tourism official procedures. Moving on, I opened the chubby hole to see if I had got any chewing gum to help me think, and I had not. So it's not chubby hole, isn't it? It's cubby hole. So cubby hole means a small storage space in front of a car used for keeping small things. So he found any chewing gum is there for a relaxation for his thinking. But what he could see, what I had got was a rather nice woman's handbag that I had never seen in my life before, with all the usual objects in it, particularly everything but chewing gum. By this time, I needed it worse than ever because, of course, the situation had taken on a new twist. It was no longer a question of the dog being in my car. I was in the dog's. So here he states that he wrongly entered the wrong car itself. It's the car of dogs, isn't it? So what does this twist mean in this sentence? Do you know? So we know that the word twist in this sentence means an unexpected change in the way in which something happens. So here something happened. What is that? Our author unknowingly entered in a wrong car. That's whose car? That's dog's car now, but not said who is the owner still now. Moving on. Very awkward. For all I knew, the dog and handbag woman had already reported the car stolen. I mean, I could see myself being in the police station under quite different circumstances, and between you and me, it took quite a bit of courage to turn around and go back. But it was the only thing to do. So, in the above paragraph, we could see to ease his tension, he opens the glove compartment to get some chewing gum but finds a lady's handbag instead. Isn't it? He then presumes that he has got into a wrong car. That time only he realized that. And he even fears that the owner of the handbag and the dog must have already reported the theft to the police station. What was the theft? He unknowingly took the car, isn't it? Here, there was a word there, awkward, awkward situation. Here it means that it appears as if he has stolen the car and dog. Moving on, so I went back and I drove very slowly up and down High Street looking for my car NPM 675. That is the car number. Nothing. Heaps of little black cars, but not mine. And it crossed my mind for a minute that perhaps I ought to go and report a stolen car. Then I thought, on the whole, perhaps not. Looks a bit fishy. Here, fishy means informal way, seeing dishonest or false. Driving up to the police station in a little black car and reporting a stolen one just like it. They would have me behind the bars. No, there was nothing for it but to drive out and tried to find his farm place and make a clean breast of it. So here, make a clean breast of it means admit that you have done something wrong. So that is what I did. It took a bit of finding too. It was at the end of a mud lane just off a side road. So anyway, he thought that he was in a stranger's car and feared he would be caught as a car thief. So he thought about complaining in police station, but there also it is little fishy, isn't it? He thought his story would sound suspicious since he himself was in stranger's car. That is the main problem. Anyway, he wanted to solve this confusion, so he decided to go looking for the farm since the address was on the name tag on the dog's collar. All the full address of that dog is mentioned there. The owner's address is there. So he decided to go back to this address. Moving on, however, I made it and it turned out to be quite a pleasant little farmhouse with a bit of courtyard in front and a few cows are there, isn't it? And I got out of the car and so did the dog and I was just going to knock on the door when a man opened it and said, "Come on, darling, where have you been? I am starving." And then he saw me and said, "Oh, hello." And I said, "Hello, I have brought your dog, Arthur, back." And he said, "What do you mean, Arthur? That's Sheila. My name's Arthur." So, do you know this Sheila a better name for the dog? So, Sheila is not a better name for the dog, isn't it? Anyway, full of strange man, strange condition, strange situation. He is managing now. So, we can see here there is a claim made by the author, isn't it? So when he seen the other, he said that, "Hello, I have brought your dog, other back. Your other dog is back." Actually, he stole it. Unknowingly, he stole it, but he said that, "I have brought your dog, other back. I had found your dog, and because of me, your dog is back." Like this, he said. Moving on, I said, "Oh, well, anyway, I am afraid your wife's driven off in my car." And he said, "But isn't this your car?" "Oh no, mine's NPM 675." And he said, "That's what this is." Anyway, in the above paragraphs, we could see when he locate the farmhouse, he is for a few more surprises. The name of the dog was what? Sheila or Sally, isn't it? Sheila itself, Sheila, not Arthur, and he was driving his own car itself, not that of dog's owner. Anyway, the farmer here, the owner, isn't it? The farmer decides the two of them should relax over coffee while waiting for his wife. Moving on, and I went and looked at the number plate, and of course it was. You see, I had been right in the first place. I mean, no wonder I could not spot my car on High Street. Moving on, well, I must say, the farmer took the whole thing rather well. He said, "Well, look, we had better go in and have a cup of coffee and wait until the misusers turn up." So he says that, My missus have to come. So let's wait with the coffee. So we had 2 cups of coffee each, and then the wife came in her little black car, saying that she had been robbed of the dog and the handbag. And her husband said, "No, you haven't, darling. You put them in Mr. Ward's its car." His name he didn't know still now. And she thought for a minute, and then she said, "Oh, of course, it must have been when I just went back to have a word with Mabel in the fruit shop. I remember now, thinking the car seemed to be in a different place." So, of course, we all had a good laugh, and the whole thing ended on a very happy note. There was just one slight problem so far as I was concerned because it was 20 past 2 when I got home and my wife was, a bit upset. And she was even more upset when she went down to get the fish and the groceries and the dry cleaning out of the boot because there was nothing in there but a rather small bale of hay. I had got the wrong car this time. So at the ending, we could see and described as unexpected and comical, very much comical situation, isn't it? And the wife in this story, the author's confusion cleared. The wife returns and clears the confusion. She had got her dog and bag into the wrong car. All of them have a good laugh, and the narrator drives back home only to find that he has now driven away in the lady's car, leaving his own in the farm with all the groceries, especially the fish, which for sure was now rotting. So at the end, we could see he had to bring the fish home by 1, and it was 20 past 2. So his wife was naturally upset, and the fish might have started rotting. Rotting means decaying, isn't it? So here, when she opened the boot, she became more upset. She found hay instead of the fish, the groceries, and the clothes from the dry cleaners. So at last, from that home, the narrator had driven away in the farmer's wife's car, that small car itself. So that is the final comical situation. When he returned back from that farmer's home, he unknowingly again mistook the wrong car itself. That is the final comic in this story.